Hello, and welcome to my channel. This is my very first video. Today we're going to make a little hammer. This little hammer is just made out of scrap material that I found laying around. The tooling here, especially the round one, is the one I used for making most of the cuts on the lathe itself. This project is made from just scrap material and no plans whatsoever, just kind of freehanding it as we go along. This round cutting bit is one I just recently acquired, and I thought I'd give it a try. And I've come to find out that it's extremely handy on the softer materials like aluminum, brass, and plastics. It seems to work really, really well. Here we're just cutting the aluminum. If only I could actually work this fast in real life on some of this stuff here. And here we go. If you notice that without even trying, that round bit on those softer materials makes a really, really nice finish. Now on the harder materials, like the steel that we're going to use later on for the handle, it might work really well with a larger lathe, but on this smaller lathe for use in the home shop on the bench top, it's just not steady enough and sturdy enough to hold and keep from chattering. And here we go. I did end up with a couple things with some changing out some tooling a little later on. I realized that I didn't pay close enough attention on some things. And whenever I was changing out my tooling, I didn't clean the top of the block where the tooling holder mounts. So it didn't seat properly. So there were a couple times I had to take it back off, clean it, and reset it. Now this is one of the heads. This is the Teflon. I was going to try to make one out of Delrin, but it's a square piece, and I realized that my 4-jaw chuck has 4 mounting bolts, while my lathe only has 3. So that's one of those projects I'm going to have to do later on. But for now, making one of the heads out of a Teflon, and I'll make the other head out of brass. That should get us good enough contrast and a good enough variation in hardness for the different materials that we're generally going to work on in a small shop. As you can see, it fits up pretty nice. This is a piece of brass I had. It already had a hole in it. Let's face this off, show that we're civilized individuals. And here we go. I tend to go slow because I don't like to push too hard when I don't have a lot of spare material laying around. So there will be a lot of cutting that is really small, light cuts. But I'd rather do that than mess up the 1 or 2 pieces of material I have to make something out of. Let's go ahead and get this down to diameter here. And we'll see what we can do with this. And here we go, we just keep going. I've already tapped the the hole in the center. Now I'm cutting it down because the hole was a little bit deeper than I needed. And if I'd cut it off where it was, then I'd have a hole out the center of it. So let's go ahead and cut this down. Get what we need done. And let's get this sucker parted off. Of course, you can tell that that little parting tool there is not going to go all the way through, but it'll make a good start. And here I am, taking my time, going slow as can be. Once we get this far enough, we're going to have to go ahead and break out the hacksaw. And I just wanted to see what would happen if I had it moving, and of course it just fills up the teeth and doesn't do any good. Let's go ahead and put that on there, since we're going to go ahead and cut it to match the head. Let's go ahead and clean this up. And there we go. Nice and smooth. It's one thing I like about this round insert on this tool. It's really nice. You can also use it to put a slight, not a straight chamfer, but a little bit of a chamfer-esque on the edges of all your parts. It's kind of nice. Now let's get this over to the mill. And this is where I found out that I'm going to have to make me a different kind of camera holder, because that little handle on the mill just keeps getting in the way. So I cut out a lot of this because I didn't figure you wanted to see nothing but the handle. Oop, there we go. Handle's in the way. Isn't that a nice handle? But anyway, I went ahead and made my flats and straightened everything out. Got everything where I wanted it. Just something for people to be aware of if you end up getting one of these Chinese mills. The R8 collets in the drawbar that came with it have metric threads. So whenever you get new R8 collets, since it only comes with 5, you're going to have to either make sure you get metric threaded collets, or go ahead and make your own with a standard threaded collet. If y'all want to see how that's done, I can show that again later. Now this rod I'm about to screw into the head of this is the one that's going to end up being the handle. And as you can, if you'll notice, it's not the prettiest piece of metal in the world, but hey, you got to start somewhere. And of course, it is an old piece of metal that was going to be thrown away. I lost the footage of the first part of this, so I apologize for that. And we're going to just quickly go through the rest of it. As you can see, there's a little bit of a bend. I was going to try to use the rest of the... Well, anyway, let's go ahead and get this sawn off. Wish I could actually work that fast in real life. That'd make things easier. But I made a little, for the handle, I cut it in a little bit so that I can wrap the handle in cord. So let's go ahead and get this cut off. And there we go. Let's get this out of here. And the good thing about cutting it down on the handle where I was going to put the cord is it allows me a place to hold it in the chuck without worrying about if I'm going to scar it up. So that comes in handy too. And now we'll just go ahead and clean up the end of this. Can't leave it like that, you know. This is, as long as you're doing really light cuts, you can use this round one on the steel, but on the long cuts like the handle and such, with the rigidity on these small lathes, it wasn't really worth a flip. But that's just due to my equipment. Get this smoothed out. Okay. Just get it all cleaned up here. Get a little bit of the edge worked off. And here we go. Let's polish it up a little bit. And I did this with the rest of it too. I used 3 grades of sandpaper. Everything from 120 all the way up to 600. And when I bring this out, you'll be able to see where I've got it cut down for the handle wrap. Now, I'm going to end up bluing this metal before I take and finish the hammer itself. And if you want to see me blue metal later on, I can make another video on that. Just using old standard birchwood Casey's super blue. Here it is. It's got a little cord wrapped handle on it. Nothing special. But it is looking pretty nice as far as I'm concerned. And I'm pretty sure it's going to do everything I need. And please be gentle with me as far as comments and all, because remember, this is first one. And it's not planned out or anything. This is just something I was asked to put on to show people some basic, images of things that can be done. If there's anything specific you need, just let me know down in the comments. And I thank you for watching. Have a good day.